this meetup was the first meetup I ever went when I started doing real estate. You probably didn't know that, but so it was like my first. I was like fresh out of
high school.
yeah. So it was great, but that event, honestly, that event made me realize the power of like networking. Because obviously after that I saw like, oh my God, there's someone, it's amazing the type of people I meet, whatever, etc., etc. And then a few years went by, I came across with other members of the group, of his group, and then boom, 2 years later, like these people were buying like multifamily here, there, and I'm like, what the heck? And I just met them like 2 years ago. So, and it was because they met at that particular event that I went on that particular day. So that was very powerful. So that's that. And then I want to start by you like introducing yourself to people and
I can do that.
and that's it. Yeah.
All right. So everybody, my name is John. I'm originally from New Jersey. I come from a real estate family. So single mom, 4 kids, welfare. She didn't go to college. So what else could she do, right? So she got into real estate because she found out she didn't need a degree. So that was my first taste of it, right? And also my first taste of real estate was, welfare on in 86, 87. 88, she drove a Mercedes, and then 89 back on welfare. So real estate is right? So everything is in cycles. But very humble upbringing. So I learned the value of a dollar, learned the value of hard work. Whenever she was driving, it was always Tony Robbins, Zig Ziglar, Carlton Sheets. So I got a really good, really good education as far as that's concerned. So I got into real estate in 2004. Wow, 19 years ago. I was still in college, and that's when the real estate market was booming. I fizzled out because I was a 20-something, and the real estate market crapped out a couple years later. So that was my life as a real estate agent. And then I got back into, I went back to school, finished, computer science guy, so I'm a data coding geek. That's really what it is. I got back into real estate again in 2012, buying property. I had a pretty good job. I was living in Los Angeles. I bought property out there, and it worked out great. And I'll say this. This is a great story of why it's so important to get started. So the very first property I bought was a townhouse in Los Angeles. I was living there, FHA loan, the whole thing. That property appreciated enough that I was able to take out a HELOC. I took out an $80,000 HELOC, and I used that as a down payment on 2 more properties. A $30,000 down payment on a home in Port St. Lucie, Florida, and $50,000 for a down payment on a triplex in West Palm. So I literally, for no money out of pocket, I ended up getting a single family and a triplex. Why did I choose those areas? Because I was from New Jersey and I always vacationed down in Palm Beach County, so that's how I ended up down there. So living in Los Angeles, I bought over here because I couldn't buy anything in Los Angeles. So I literally got these 2 properties for no money out of pocket. Fast forward 6 years later, I sell those properties, one of them in 2021 and one of them last year. And I do a 1031 on both of those properties. So with the single family that I got for no money down, I sold it, and I was able to 1031 into a $680,000 property in Deerfield Beach that I now use as an Airbnb. So I literally got that for no money out of pocket. And the triplex that I sold in West Palm, I did a 1031, and I took the funds from that, and I bought a 6-plex in Wilton Manors for $720,000. So just real fast on the math there, my very first investments ever that I used with no money out of pocket on a HELOC on my primary, 6 years later, I turned those into $1.4 million of real estate, no money out of pocket.
Power of real estate.
The power of real estate, right? That was my very first investment, was the Port St. Lucie property and the triplex right after that. So, fast forward the story a little bit. The property that, I was living in Los Angeles, the property, or the company I was working for went under, and I had to move. So I moved east, and my wife would not move to New York, or my girlfriend at the time, now wife, would not move to New York where I was living. So we moved to South Florida. I told her it was just like New York.
A bit warmer.
Yeah, a bit warmer. lot of New York and Philadelphia and New Jersey people here, and and it worked out well. I had to be closer to the portfolio, so I ended up buying a couple more down here. I had a primary, so I did a live and flip. I did an FHA loan, bought a property, live and flip. So I did the hard knocks of having, brushing your teeth in the kitchen sink, because you that's what you have to do. Because if you want to get ahead, these are the sacrifices you need to make. We did not have a working bathroom. Brush your teeth.
And yet you told me Florida was going to be better than New York.
Absolutely. Nowadays. But yes, these are some of those, like, when people talk about like the things that you have to do to get ahead, it's you have to house hack. You have to FHA, buy property, refinance, FHA again, move every, and those are the things that you have to do if you want to get to where you want to get. So, FHA property, live and flip, and then, it's a live and buy and hold.
And let me ask you, because I know you own properties in other states.
Yes.
What was like the bug that bite you to, like, you know what, let me just buy out of state, like, let me just find it. I mean, actually, you already did it.
I was living in Los Angeles.
Yeah,
My very first investment ever was out of state.
Yeah.
So I was very comfortable with the fact that you have to, if you want to get ahead, you have to take action. And if you can't take action where you are at, then take action where you can, right? So, yeah. So the other thing is this. So here's the other thing, right? So I had property in Los Angeles, property in South Florida. These properties are appreciating, but I was cash poor. I'm equity rich, cash poor. I'm like, I am still struggling. Like, I need cash flow. So then I went to Kansas City. I wanted to get cash flow properties. So I started investing in Kansas City because I wanted properties that weren't going to appreciate, where I really didn't care about the equity. I could probably sell it 5 years later for what I bought it for, and then just get some cash flow. So that worked out well. Cheap properties. I ended up buying. I bought a single family home, and I put about $1,000 into it. I put it on Craigslist with no address, no picture, and I had it rented within 3 hours. So I knew that I had something. I knew that I was like, all right, the rental demand is there. This is 2017. Yeah. So I was like, I knew I got something here. So I bought the single family, and then I bought a sixplex, and then I bought a fiveplex. Funny story about the sixplex, it was only advertised as a fourplex, extra 2 units in the basement. So be sure to check your listings in the square footage. So anyway, bought 12 units, things are going great. A guy approaches me and says, how's it going in the Midwest? And I said, it's going great. My returns are like 26, 28%. He's like, well, why aren't you buying any more? Ran out of money. Putting 20% down on every property, you're out of money. Regardless of how cheap you are. So we partnered up. He came up with the money. I did the day-to-day, and for about 3 years, we went on a spree. He basically said, I'll keep finding money if you keep finding deals. And he did.
Okay.
So he upheld his end, and I upheld my end, and we maxed out at around 144 units in Kansas City.
Wow.
All small multis. Literally the only single in my portfolio was that very first one that I bought. And after that, it was just duplexes, fourplexes, sixplexes, eightplex.
And those were cash flow.
Those were cash flow. We had one 34plex. We had a 34plex that was like our cash cow. We got such a good deal on this, and that cash cow, also, mind you, we did not take any of the money. Any money that we made in Missouri, we kept in Missouri. So all the money that we had, we reinvested. We never took any money out. So again, sacrifices that you need to make. We had all this money just operating, but we didn't touch it. We still lived our lives exactly the same. Exactly normal. You know, we had like a multi-million-dollar portfolio in another town, but our lives did not change one bit. So we just kept churning it, and then we bought properties, and we were renovating these properties, and we were flipping them, we were wholesaling, because what we were doing is we were buying portfolios from people. And that's actually another little nugget to take away with you as well, is that we would go on to like LoopNet and these places, and Zillow, and that had all these like portfolios for sale, and we would just take the whole thing. Like we'd just be like, all right, we'll just take the whole thing, and then we'll just sell off the pieces that we didn't want anyway. And then when it comes down to it, you're like, oh wow, I got the only things that I wanted for a really good deal, because
But then you sold them because you were able to sell the other ones.
right. You know, and you'd be surprised what people will do, because like we ended up buying one of them, seller financing, 10% down, and I ended up wholesaling a portion of the portfolio to pay off the note, and then everything else I owned for a year. Yeah. So again, getting creative, hustling, just taking absolute massive action for everything that you want, and just literally being obsessed with it. That's really what I did. I became absolutely obsessed with it. And then fast forward some more time. I ended up, I like to say, I organically grew to now I'm investing in Charleston, South Carolina. I've syndicated 2 apartment complexes there, looking to do more. And we're divesting out of Kansas City. So I just look at data trends, being the data guy that I am. I'm looking at trends, and I'm realizing that it's maybe not so advantageous to be in the Midwest anymore. Because if we've realized anything from COVID, it's been this population decentralization, right? People don't have to live in New York to work in New York. Everything's remote now. People realize that you can do everything remote. Companies don't want to have the overhead. They don't want to have to pay for the space. So now you can live anywhere and work anywhere, for the most part. So a lot of people don't necessarily need to stay in Missouri. Because if anyone's ever been to Missouri, you don't want to stay there. Apologies for anyone from Missouri. So I'm realizing that it's time to get out. So I think if there's any college football fans in the house, SEC, right? The SEC is looking great. You know, I meant the states to invest, right? So I'm talking like Texas, Louisiana, all the way to Florida, and then like up to North Carolina, all on board. Like that's where I'm looking to invest now. So right now I'm doing the syndications in Charleston. I'm doing short-term rentals in Florida. I still have my LA property, and I'm actually looking to get into the hospitality world down here. So one of my business partners specializes in Airbnbs. He specializes in short-term rentals, and we think the transition into hospitality could be an interesting one. Essentially taking a hotel and turning it into a contactless Airbnb model. Yeah. So that's something that's really interesting right now, and I think that's we've already put in offers on properties, so now we're just waiting. So because this is the thing, right? If you look at data, you look at the trends, if you listen to what people are saying, and you read what's in the news, there's going to be some hard times out there. There will be blood in the streets in 2023, maybe 2024. We're seeing it, right? Airbnb bookings are a little low. Interest rates are going up. Prices are coming down, maybe a little smidgen. Not enough to actually like take massive action, but you know, things are sitting on the market a little bit longer. Did anyone try to buy anything last year?
I bought.
Right, but it was chaos. You know, yeah.
Chaos.
So that chaos is now gone, right? The chaos is gone, but volume's still there. But we'll see.
So, with that being said, I know, we hear so many bad news, social media, the news, all that stuff. And one of the things that caught my attention last time we were hanging out, it was we were talking about the rituals, habits, things that you develop in your own personal life, so that you can surpass like all your crap that you tell yourself, and so that you can be in a good state of mind, so that you're able to act with massive action. So I wanted you to touch base on that because, mindset. You're part of a great mastermind that's my bucket list as well, and some of the people and all the masters.
So mindset is the most important thing that you guys can work on, right? You can get a step-by-step real estate book that will tell you exactly what to do step by step. Literally, follow this formula and you will become rich. And people still wouldn't be able to do it because they don't have that mindset. You have to be able to wrap your mind around, like, what is the difference between the effort in a $100,000 deal and $1 million deal?
I guess pretty much the same. Yeah,
It's the same effort, but it's literally wrapping your, because then if you say to someone's like, all right, well, if you buy $1 million property, you're going to be $800,000 in debt. People are like, oh shit, and then they want to vomit, right? So, but if you can wrap your head around it,
I'm going to find a way no matter what. Yeah.
Right, exactly, no matter what. So first off, one, surrounding yourself with people that are doing more than you. Like, this meetup is a perfect example of that, right? There's people here from all different scales, but the people here are doing the things that you want to do. Whether if they're managing something, they're owning something, they're investing, they're hard money lending, they're wholesaling, whatever it is that they're doing, find people that are doing what you want to do, and then just submerge yourself with them. Because these are going to be the people that are going to get you through the bad times. Because if you hang around only people that are naysayers that are like, oh, I wouldn't invest right now, well then your psyche is going to be all fucked up and you're not going to want to invest. So you got to surround yourself with positive people that are doing, not just naysaying, right? So that's number one. Two, you are what your brain is what you feed it, right? Are you going to feed it junk? Are you going to feed it news? Are you going to Twitter scroll until 2 o'clock in the morning about all the things that are going wrong in the world? Or are you going to, read positive affirmations? Are you going to read the books that you need to read? All the personal development stuff. Listen, there's a lot of rah-rah bullshit out there. There's a lot of it. But a lot of that stuff kind of works too. Like looking in front of the mirror and telling yourself how great you are. It's like, it feels kind of silly when you do it.
I'm a conqueror.
Right.
Yeah.
People like me. But it does. But there is something to it. There's a reason why people say to do these things, right? So, for example, I journal every day. Do I miss a day here and there? Yeah, especially when my kids were home for spring break. I don't know if you guys have kids and they were just home for spring break. It was a nightmare. But completely threw off my morning routine and everything. But no, I journal every day. And I do my journal and I talk about like whatever's going on in my head and I get it out there so that it's not stuck in my head. It's kind of like sharing it with someone else, even though it's just a piece of paper. Flip my page over. I go through my 10 affirmations. I literally write down the same 10 affirmations every single day. Share with you guys. You guys can do it too. Or you guys can have your own variation of that. Number one, I am happy. I'm actually a happy guy, but I like to remind myself every morning, I am happy.
Repeat after.
Yeah.
I'm happy.
I am happy. 2, I own multiple businesses. Also, I use it in the present. I don't own multiple businesses right now. I own real estate, but I want to own multiple businesses So use it in the present tense, right? Not in the future. Not like I will own those. No, I own multiple businesses. 3. I have an abundance of cash flow. I have an abundance of cash flow. 3 or 4. I invest in diverse industries. So I don't want everything in real estate. Alright, and we get to the personal stuff. 5. I spend more time with my family than I do at work. 6. I create authentic relationships. 7. I visit a new country every quarter. Yeah. 8. We'll get to that one. 8. I read a book every month. 9. I exercise every day. 10. I eat healthy. I write these same 10 things down every single day until it's ingrained in my head. So that means if someone wants to give me a Krispy Kreme donut, I think to myself, I eat healthy.
What about the pizza?
The pizza? No, I won't. I'm starving right now. Yeah.
Veggie pizza.
There's a cheat, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's another conversation. I cheat every now and then.
Right. No,
We got a cheat meal.
Yeah, I just did the 75 bar challenge. If anyone knows what that is.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I will be eating some pizza. We're good. But these are the affirmations that I say to myself every day. I write these 10 things down every day. And then what I do? I write 3 things. 3 gratitudes. 3 things I'm grateful for. And I only limit it to one person because I don't want to be like, I'm grateful for my mom. I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for my kid. I don't want to do that. One person. You pick one person. And then try to pick like a characteristic, like a personal trait, like I'm grateful for my drive and motivation. And then, maybe something materialistic. You're grateful for I love my desk. I love my desk. Whatever it is to you, right? 3 things that you're grateful for because people can't be made and upset when you're in a state of gratitude. It's impossible. So I journal and I feel great afterwards. I'm ready to attack the day. Right? So, the other thing I do is I write down the book that I'm reading, and then I write down what my workout's going to be that day, and then I write down my 3 contacts. I have a 3 contact rule because one of my affirmations was I create authentic relationships. Because one of the other problems with my affirmations is I travel a lot. When I said I visit another country every quarter, I do that. But, double-edged sword, I use it as an excuse. Someone in my mastermind pointed this out. I use that as a defense mechanism to not have to create authentic relationships because, oh man, I'd love to get together, but I'm going to be in Morocco. I'd love to see you that day, but I'll be just getting back from London. So.
And I will assume you being a data guy, you're kind of like introvert as well. Or am I wrong?
Nah, not so much.
No? Okay.
Not so much. Maybe at first with people I don't know.
Okay.
But I think that I get comfortable enough. I get to a point. So maybe at first, yeah, maybe a little bit. So I want to create authentic relationships. So I have a rule every day. 3 contacts. I have to contact 1 family member, 1 friend, and 1 person in my mastermind. That's it. If I do that every day, I will be true to myself and I will create authentic relationships. So I figured out what are the 10 things that are most important to me, right? Those 10 affirmations. These are the things that I really want to work on. I had in there one time, one of them, what used to be something like before I create authentic relationships, I speak multiple languages. Because I thought that would be so cool because I travel, it's great. My wife speaks 3 languages. English is her 3rd language, and I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna speak to her family in their native tongue. I'm fooling myself. It's just not in me. And I had it on there for about a year, and I didn't do 1 language class, and I was just like, I'm lying to myself. So either
you added at 11. I'm a gringo.
Great. But this is the thing. I either have to be true to myself and fucking do the things that I'm going to say that I'm going to do, or stop saying I'm going to do them.
Yeah.
That's it. So I stopped saying I was going to do it. And I replaced it with something else that I found is equally as important. So these are the affirmations. These are the things that I believe that are true, that I need to ingrain in myself. If you look in the mirror and you just say, I'm a real estate, you don't own any property, I'm a real estate investor. Over and over and over again. You will believe that, I mean, of course you can believe it, but I'm saying you will start to define yourself as a real estate investor. When people introduce themselves, oh, I'm a real estate investor. Oh, cool, you know what? I'd love to introduce you to somebody, right? It's like, all right, well, cool. They never would have made that introduction had they not known that you were a real estate investor, whether you really are or not, right?
But it opens the door.
It opens the door, right? So, why are you guys here? You want to network, you want to meet them, you want to shake hands. Oh, what are you doing? Oh, I'm getting into wholesale. Oh, I'm getting into real estate investment. Oh, awesome. No one's going to know that if you don't say it. If you don't go to the meetups, if you don't surround yourself by people, if you don't tell people what it is that you are doing or what you want, you won't get it. Wait, hold on, let me say that one more time. If you don't tell people what you're doing or what you want, you will never get it.
Yeah. Ask and you shall receive.
Well, here's another twist to that, right? About taking action. Who here wants to buy a property in the next 6 months? Right? All right. Everyone probably does. Okay. Who here thinks it's really hard to buy property right now? Is it hard to buy a property? No. Well, I mean, to find a great deal. Not to buy a property, but to find a great deal. It's pretty hard. The numbers aren't working. Interest rates are high. Sellers haven't become realistic on their prices yet, right? But here's the thing, right? For people that have yet to buy, it's tough to get started. But no one will know that you want to buy a property unless you start putting offers out there. Even if they're low-ball offers. Even if they're low-ball offers. Put them out there. Because then somebody will say, hey, listen, I know you lost out on these last 3 deals. Kind of got something coming up. You know, that happens. That happens all the time. I put in
out there.
Yeah, I put in 3 offers in the last month at about 85% of asking price. I didn't get them. I'm actually really upset about one of them. Maybe me feel bad. But I ran the numbers. The numbers say this is as high as I can go. Maybe a little wiggle room. That'll make me really uncomfortable. But this is what the numbers say. Somebody's going to overpay for it. That's all I can do. But I got to shoot my shot. And this agent does not know that I'm a buyer if I don't put my name out there, if I don't take the action, if I don't put the offer out there. Because if I'm just sitting at home, not putting offers, and I'm just like scrolling through Redfin and Zillow and getting disappointed, no one's ever going to know that I'm a buyer. So it's so important to take action. Like just do it. Even if you don't get the property, desensitize yourself to putting out an offer. Tons of offers. I'm a firm believer in that. So
that's a good one. And you know, your Instagram is for you know, you guys can follow him, John the Traveler Investor.
John the Traveling Investor. Jon.
And also
Traveling Investor.
Coffee with Investor. Follow him. But you know, since you have that, it just caught my attention because yeah, you're putting the intention of just traveling around, just taking care of one of your gardens, I'm assuming. Right. And yeah, talk a little bit about that. So how important is that for you? Yeah.
Well, my goal, say 5 years ago, 6 years ago, is I wanted to be able to travel the world and just work wherever I wanted. The whole world is my office, right? Just grab a laptop and just do whatever I wanted to do. And I made that part of my identity, right? I'm a world traveler. I work wherever I want, over and over again until it's ingrained. And then I had an opportunity. And I took it. And I just traveled for months. And that opportunity was COVID. So, if you remember, when COVID happened, there was one country in the world that was open. Does anyone remember? Close. Sweden. Sweden was the only country in the world that was open. Everything shut down in the world. They were only letting Swedes in. My wife is a Swede. So when it got real bad in Florida, like first it was bad in Seattle, and New York, and then Florida like got crazy. Kids are out of school, everything's remote anyway, and I'm just like, screw it, let's just go. Let's go. It's 2020. It's 3 years ago. Like, let's just go. And we went, and we didn't come back, just to like take care of all that shit. He was just my boots on the ground guy, my other guy. He had a checkbook on my behalf, and I got the bank to write checks, and obviously I verified everything, and I paid him for it. So, did I sacrifice a lot of money that I could have made by doing all these things? Yes. But I realized that it was more important for me to set up a system so that I didn't have to be all these things. Like, yes, I could have made a lot more money by doing that. I could have made a lot more money by doing other construction work too. I'm not a contractor, right? So I realized what my strengths are. My strengths are not property managing, and I can't do it. I realized that. So, yes, I found what I wanted to do, worked my way backwards, and I literally made it part of my identity, and now I'm doing the thing that I said that I wanted to do 5 years ago. Like, that would be my dream, and I'm living my dream. So yeah.
And as far as like reaching out to people from like the master, like, can you tell us a little bit more about the importance of like being part of a group that thinks ahead, that want to do better for themselves, and what can you tell us on that?
Well, I will say this. Being a part of Mastermind, I was never in that group where I'm like, I don't want to have to pay for my friends. I should be able to make friends. And that's the way I look at it. Like, I don't want to buy friends. They're not real friends. They're just people. That's my mindset completely changed. Because I had my meetup. So I started the meetup group when I moved to Florida. I moved to Florida in 2015. Started a meetup group in Delray. And honestly, I started it because I couldn't find it. So 8 years ago, there were no real estate meetups around here. And I found one. So people from Miami were coming up, Florida were coming up. People were coming down from fucking Fort Pierce to be at this meetup. It was great. From that meetup, like 6 other meetups have spawned. It's great. I'm so proud of these people. I don't even look at this competition. I'm so happy for them. So, started a meetup, and that was my mastermind. My meetup, this right here, this is a mastermind, right here, right here. So I started a meetup, that was my mastermind. I wanted to be around people, I wanted to have five strong friends. Listen, I have some great friends, some loyal friends. I couldn't share my things with them. I couldn't be like, hey, I just turned this HELOC for 80 grand to $1.4 million real estate with no money out of pocket. They would look at me like I was fucking crazy. Like, there's just something you don't say in front of people. And these are my best friends, and I didn't want them to judge me. So I realized that I had to be around people where I could share my wins and help you learn from them. I had, if you don't want to be the most experienced guy in the group, because if you're the most experienced guy in the group, then the whole group is only limited to your experience, right? So I was a manager in the data world for all computer networking dudes. I wanted to find developers that were better than I was. They could develop better than me, and people were like, well, then we'll take your job. I'm like, nah, there's a reason why I would still be their boss. Just because they can code better than I can does not mean they're going to take my job. They may know the how, but I still know the why, right? So I wanted to find talent that was better than me because I did not want the group to only be limited to my level of coding knowledge, right? Okay, this is one, and I say that because it can be applied to any industry, not just real estate. So, I joined a mastermind. I just wanted to try it out. Actually, I put my first year like on credit cards. I didn't even have the money for it. Like it was like that's how it was years ago, and it was awesome. And then that opened my mind because I realized that you just gotta stop competing with other people. You just can't. Because if you join a mastermind that's on like some crazy level, they're like, at the first event I went to, they're like, oh, Christian, how'd your company exit go? It's like, oh, went good, you know, the lawyers got involved, and you know, and they're like, oh, what was your exit? It's like, oh, it was nine figures. And you're just like, fuck, 9 figures. Like, all right, well, cool. I guess I won't be competing myself with him, right? But then you realize that like there's always going to be someone out there that they're in a different chapter in their life. Like I'm on chapter 6, they're on chapter 16, and they just had a 9-figure exit. Hopefully I can get there, but whatever. I won't be disappointed if I don't. So I literally, it humbles you. That's the word I'm looking for. It humbles the shit out of you. So I realized that I'm like, all right, I'm only going to compete with myself last year. That's it. If I can do better, than last year, yeah, obviously I'm going to be better every day. Be a better version of myself from yesterday. But I'm saying like, when my goal, did I shut it off? No. Did I shut it off? No. So from the way that my goals are and the way that I track myself, I very on calendar. I want to be better this year than I did last year. And I track my goals and my activity ferociously. Actually, it's pretty crazy. So, with the affirmations, with the things that I want to track, the things that I want to do.
You did become a good manager of yourself.
Right. Yes. I created a KPI for myself, and these are the KPI that I need to hit. So I'll literally tell you that I have an app called Habit, the app tracker, the habit tracker. So I need to contact 3 brokers every week. I need to underwrite a property every week. I need to make those 3 contacts to those people every day. I need to take my vitamins every day. Shit like that. I literally track everything, down to taking my vitamins. But you get to take your vitamins too. Yeah, exactly, right? So I track all these things to know that, like, all right, well, how'd I do? Right? And some weeks are better than others. Like I said, my kids were home for spring break. Fuck my whole world. So everything. So I track the things that I said I need to do, because I don't want to say, oh, I need to make $500,000 this year. That's not actionable. But if I call 3 brokers every week, if I underwrite a property a week, if I make those 3 contacts a day, I'll do it. That should get me there.
And I mean, for me, kind of like a breakthrough is like, there's a point in life, like, when you go to these type of meetups or any other event, you're always thinking about like, oh my God, I want to be there because I want to reach out success. And typically we correlate that success with monetary or materialistic things, which they're great, though we don't realize that through these masterminds, you also get the chance to work on other aspects of your life. And therefore, because now you're tracking not just how much you have in your bank account, but also like how much input you're putting in your own relationships, how much input you're putting in your own family. And then you start to create this holistic life in which you're able to take care of your whole atmosphere. Therefore, it creates a venue of attraction, let's put it this way, for things that you want to accomplish because you're in a good state of mind. So, yeah.
Okay. Does everyone in the room know somebody that's really rich? Right? Do you know somebody that's miserable that's really rich? Yeah? Yes. Exactly. So money does not buy happiness, right? So the part of the mastermind is wealth creation is actually only one of the 6 pillars that we work on. So the mastermind is called Go Buns. The 6 pillars are, they call it horizontal income, which means just multiple streams of income, whether it's a business here, property here, W-2 here, whatever it is, multiple streams of income. So wealth creation, age-defying health, because you don't take care of your body, you don't take care of your heart, you don't exercise, all that money's going to go somewhere else, not to you, right? Authentic relationships, those are obviously you want to be a good father, you want to be a good spouse. All that money's no good if your kids don't talk to you and your spouse hates you, right? And then there is epic adventures. Enjoy your money. Go do things. Get out. Don't just work. Go out and do some epic shit. I can honestly say I do epic shit. I didn't used to, but I do. But it's important to do it. And epic can be whatever it is. I flew to Philadelphia for the World Series game because the Phillies were in there. It wasn't a lot of money, but it was epic. Because I literally just dropped everything. I bought one ticket. I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. I just went to a World Series game and I came back. And I was gone for less than 24 hours. That was fucking awesome.
Talking about that, and I saw your Instagram in Bahamas, but you know that you can actually take a ferry to Bahamas in one day and then come back. That's pretty dope.
That's epic.
Yeah.
That's the kind of stuff, right? Go out and just do stuff, right? It doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Just do stuff. So I'm sorry. I don't want to lose track, right? So horizontal income. Health.
Health,
Yes,
yeah.
health.
Age-defined health.
Age-defined.
Authentic relationship.
There we
Hey.
go. Someone's taking notes. There we go. Okay. All right. So horizontal income, age-defining health.
Marriage suite.
Yes, and then there's extreme accountability is another one.
Oh, that's
So
a good one.
extreme accountability because, like I just said, I created KPI that I need to hit. I need to contact three brokers. I need to call my mom once a week. Whatever it is for you. If you're gonna say this is the shit I'm gonna do it. That's why I said I needed to stop saying that I was gonna learn another language because I'm not doing it. So either do it or stop saying you're gonna do it. So yes, extreme accountability.
Cool.
Yeah.
And do everything.
Missing one.
Am I missing one?
Yeah.
What?
Epic shit.
Yeah, epic adventure.
Travel.
Age-defining health, extreme
Family.
accountability.
Family.
Horizontal.
What's that?
Horizontal income.
Yeah.
No,
separate.
it's alright. I mean, it's self-explanatory.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah.
You remember it
Yeah.
writing it.
So I'm gonna.
Horizontal income, age-defined health, authentic relationship, epic adventures, extreme accountability.
So 5.
Five is good.
There's another one I can't think of right now. Oh, you know
Alex,
what? I just
number
remembered
6.
it. It's the one that I need the most help with.
That's why.
Genuine contribution, giving back.
Yeah.
That is the 6th one. And I'll tell you what, that is the one that I do the worst at, and I'm working on doing better. So for each one of these pillars, I had to create my own goals for each one of these 6. So my goals this year is to give away $10,000. Another one is to tip a service worker $100. I went to IHOP, and I can't let them see it. Tip it, walk out as fast as you can. Because it doesn't. If they know that you did it, and you get that, you see them, you make out them, it ruins it, right? It's got to be genuine. So things like that. So $10,000, to different charities.
But once you agree, then maybe also the meetups that you do every month, it's like a form of contribution.
Okay, so that is something that I struggled with because I did not believe that. But the people in my mastermind were absolutely no, that is genuine contribution because before it wasn't that way, but now I do a lot more teaching than I do sharing, right? So yes, that is part of the genuine contribution.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do right now, I'm gonna open it to Q&As, and we can do 10 minutes of that, and then pizza, chill, and then work. Yeah, that's it. If you have any questions,
You guys can ask me anything.
No, besides the information and the goals for the day, what do you write in the journal?
What do I write in my journal? I write, that's good. Whatever I want. Like, okay, so really, I try to write out my frustrations. Because if I can get it out of my head, it doesn't stay in my head. So I honestly, like, I will write down a lot of things that I'm really pissed off about. Or I'll write things that I'm really happy about. I'll write down whatever mood swing, I will wake up on some fucked up shit. Like I will like if something bad happened or like I missed out on a deal or like fighting with my wife or we're all humans here, right? I'll write it down and then I forget about it and I'm like, oh, cool. Or if it's like something I'm grateful for, then it's like I feel like I shared it. Either way, I feel better after. So it's therapeutic. So yeah, I don't write nonsense. I write whatever emotional high or low that I'm on that day.
Like a diary?
Yes, exactly like a diary. Right.
We have to go back and read them on that day, what was I thinking on that day?
No, because I would feel silly doing it. But I do it right, because I'm like, oh wow, I feel like I was just complaining like a little bitch that day. Like, but I will go back and I'll check out some of the things that I'm grateful for. Like so on the front page, I write my journal. On the back page, the 10 affirmations, the 3 things I'm grateful for, and like the people I want to contact. I will go back and I'll look at the back page. Yeah.
When you speak about like the multiple sources or streams of income and different diversification, besides your real estate that I see that you were at one time doing flips, now you have short-term rentals, and you have long-term rentals, and now you're selling. Like, do you have any other businesses that you're involved in right now?
So I do. I was trained and went to school for the data stuff. There's still clients that I work for. It comes very easy to me, so it doesn't occupy a lot of my time. The guy I worked for when I worked out in LA, where I said this country there's a company went bankrupt. He started another company, and he basically needed me, and so I worked for him for a couple years for free. And then when he started to become profitable, he paid it all back. And I told him, I was like, listen, man, as long as you're in business, I got you back. So I probably work 5 hours a week doing that. But I still do some of the data stuff.
And the data, how do you incorporate it into knowing where to buy the real estate?
Okay,
Like, how do you do that?
that's good. That's a good question.
Teach me, please.
Okay, so well, first off, the number one thing I look for are population trends. People are either leaving or going somewhere for a reason. So for example, I started buying in Charleston. Charleston has a spike right now. I heard somebody talking about Ohio. If you look at every major city in Ohio, Cleveland, Cincinnati's kind of stagnant, Dayton, Youngstown, they're all going down, except Columbus. Columbus is shooting up, right? So
Where
we're
do you get
leaving.
the data from?
Where do you get the data?
Yeah.
That's-
I put web
You can look at property.
Well, I mean, where do you get any data, right? Google. Google shit. But
Well, there's specific
Well, you want it
web
reliable.
pages, government pages.
I will say this. There's a web, if you're a data geek, the best website, write this down, city-data.com. City-data.com will give you so much more information than it'll tell you how many of the houses use electric heat over gas heat. Like, shit that you don't even need to know. The most common last names for that city. You're just like, who would ever need to know that stuff? But it'll give you the demographics, it'll give you how many of them are renters, how many of them are home buyers, it'll give you anything and everything you've ever wanted. So city-data is probably the best source for data, like hardcore data. But when it comes to unemployment, that you want Department of Labor and Statistics, census data for population, so that's every 4 years.
And do you have like a program you put it into, or you just are you?
Excel.
No,
Yeah,
no.
Excel,
It's
yeah.
working like-
No, I know, Excel.
Swipe,
Excel works
you
great.
do Excel.
Listen, I did do that. I created my own database and my own algorithms and all that shit. It was a lot of work. And yeah, I don't want to do that again. I know how to do it. It's easy to me, and I don't even want to do it. I wouldn't recommend you doing it either.
No,
'Cause I don't want to do it. So
or
when
maybe you have it already.
yeah. Oh, I do have
Put
one.
in information.
I have mine from the 2016
I'm gonna
census.
do it, I'm gonna share with you guys.
I will do something. Okay.
So I got way too many things in common with these. I'm not
Okay.
talking.
Oh yeah. I created my own SQL shit, man. I had stuff, but I don't want to do it anymore. But this is the thing: everything changed from COVID.
Right.
Places that had populations going up once COVID happened, now they're going down because they're like, I don't need to be in Missouri anymore. I don't need to be in Cincinnati anymore. So they're leaving these places. So yeah.
And do you know like what is attracting the people to those places?
That's what you need to find out. So
There's a bunch of also
Yeah.
articles, if you sign up to like real estate, web pages, and then you subscribe, you will see different type of articles, and then you can link them and say, okay, there's a common pattern here that these people are like saying, like, oh, there's something here, and then you dig into the area, and then you.
Like, for example, like you mean like for Formula One. When Formula One come down, everybody come down. So that's something that, you know, is an Airbnb. If you get something along the area of Hard Rock Stadium, as soon as Formula One come down here,
You know, there's
everybody
a
come down.
fluctuation.
No, but I mean like for long term.
Okay, so for example, Charleston, I saw the population increase. Then I broke it down even further. Where in Charleston? They're not going to downtown Charleston, so they were going to North Charleston. So I'm like, all right, cool. Why are they going to North Charleston? Okay, I found out that they just signed a contract for $600 million light rail to connect North Charleston and downtown Charleston. So all the downtown Charleston people is just tourists and people that are like Airbnb and shit, and then they're just all the people that were living there are getting pushed north. So then we started investing in North Charleston because we realized they're dumping $600 million into infrastructure. And we found that because it's not just city shit, it's called an MSA, Market Statistical Area. So that means that so the Miami Market Statistical Area technically includes Fort Lauderdale and West Palm. I'm saying on a nationwide, right? So that MSA, I was like, all right, where in that MSA are they going? Okay, North Charleston. Why are they going to that specific part of Charleston? And then you find out, local newspapers are great for stuff like that.
Even the web page of the city,
Yeah.
you log in, and then they will tell you, oh, we just approved this project, this development in this particular area, and then it will everything, all the maps, everything. Will tell you everything.
Even with
It's like if you dig in and then you go to the city webpage, and some cities no, they will lay down like, oh, this development was approved for X amount of million dollars, whatever, and it's gonna bring this X amount of jobs, blah 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 blah, and then you can see like the infrastructure, the maps of how it's gonna be, and all that stuff. So,
Yeah, so just do your due diligence, do your research, but be obsessive about it. Like if you wanted to put $1 million, if you wanted to go into $1 million in debt somewhere, you want to make sure that you're right. So that's the kind of stuff that you want to check out. So that's why I was comfortable pulling the trigger in North Charleston. And then also, physically go there. Like that was one of the things in Kansas City. When I started investing in Kansas City, I physically went there. And I went to the bars, went to the restaurants, and I started talking to the waiters.
to people, yeah.
Yeah, the wait staff. And I'm like, why do you live here? And I got the same answer every time. Well, this is where my family's from. Cool. So you're gonna stay here? Why not buy a property? Oh, because I'm gonna leave as soon as I get the chance. It's like, oh, have you ever gotten a chance? Like, what are you waiting for? Right, exactly.
We're stuck here.
So I'm hearing that. So I hear in my head, lifelong rental.
Right.
They don't want to buy. They don't want to set down roots, but they're waiting for that chance.
And then you still have that inflection of population coming in and out, and yeah.
Right.
We're looking at market trends. We hear a lot of people who don't like to be tied down, so they'd rather rent than buy, so they'll go traveling, wherever, and that way they don't have to be stagnant. They don't have to sit somewhere for 20, 30 years like their parents did.
Right, because people think that they're buying something, they're putting down roots for themselves, but you can buy something for other people. Right?
Cool, guys. So, look, I'm gonna wrap it up. We're gonna chill, network, eat pizza, and hit this part. But it's a $20 entry fee. If you can help me out with that, and and cash, Venmo, however. Cool. Thanks.